Hi everyone, welcome to this updated video. It is Dani. I trust and hope you're doing great. Today is the 5th of May and we're going to be talking about what is going on out there in the realm of weather. So, the month of May kick-started with the first tropical wave of the season actually emerging from the African coast, and now it is right at the Caribbean's doorstep. But can you tell from satellite imagery? No, everything looks pretty normal, right? Well, a tropical wave is just within this region here. So it has propagated across the tropical Atlantic. However, it is a very, it's struggling significantly out there. So it is being impacted significantly by the Saharan air layer. So that's the massive dry air and dust which comes all the way from the Sahara Desert to North Africa. It's carried across the Atlantic by the trade winds, and that is how it pretty much blankets areas such as the Caribbean and the Americas. And it also takes a major toll on the tropical waves. So what happens is the tropical waves, they tend to help to destabilize the atmosphere, which is what leads to the formation of showers and thunderstorms. But when we've got such a large quantity of that dry air and dust, it helps to pretty much limit that from happening, and that is exactly what we see going on with the first tropical wave of the season. The second tropical wave emerged, I believe it was either yesterday or Sunday. My memory's not serving me very well right now, but there is some convection associated with it in this area, and that area is generally below that very dense air mass associated with the Saharan air layer. Now, as we go onto the surface chart, we can see what is going on. So here we've got the first tropical wave of the season, again just at the Caribbean's doorstep, not producing any convection at this time. Things are pretty much stable. Right now, if you're in Guyana, in North Guyana, or the easternmost section of Venezuela, or even the Lesser Antilles, you probably can't tell that a tropical wave is passing by because of how stable atmospheric conditions are, and not to mention the heat. If it's not raining, it is so hot. Like, the temperature is definitely on rise, and we're not even in summer as yet. So expect that this summer is going to be a pretty hot one here across the Caribbean, not merely because of the fact that it's summer, but because it is likely that we will experience below average rain for some extensive time. So I'll talk more about that later on as time progresses by. And then here we've got the axis of the second tropical wave. So these straight orange lines are representative of the axes of the waves as they're moving through. And as I mentioned, all of that dry air, we can visibly see that on the Saharan air layer graphic here. So this is showing the dry air across the region, and all these different shadings, especially the oranges going to the reds, are indicative of a more denser air mass. So higher concentrations of dry air out there, pretty much dominant across much of the Caribbean, even going into the Gulf as well, and across the tropical Atlantic for the most part. As I mentioned, we've got some action associated with the second tropical wave of the season, and we can see that that lies below or beneath that huge mass of dry air. So it's sustaining a little bit of activity, nothing major. And this is expected of the early season waves. They're normally quite weak. They don't sustain much activity, and we are not normally watching them for tropical cyclone development in the Atlantic basin. Now, as we take a look at this graphic here, this is the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook map, specifically in regards to precipitation. So we're seeing two different colors here. We've got the green shadings and the brown shadings. The green shadings indicate above average rain probability, and then the brown shadings indicate below average rainfall probability. And the darker the shading, regardless of which color it is, the higher the chance. So we've got the first graphic here, the week of May 13th to 19th. So let me zoom in. We're focusing on the Atlantic basin. And across the Caribbean and much of Central America, and even parts of Northern South America, we see these brown shadings indicating that the middle of May is likely to be pretty dry, drier than normal. So below average rain is likely within the time period. and even along what is known as the intertropical convergence zone. That is where trade winds of the north and south meet, and there's normally lots of atmospheric instability. And this is one of those things that helps to fuel all the showers and thunderstorms associated with the tropical waves. So things being a bit more quiet and more stable out there, the tropical waves are not going to be sustaining much activity at all. And then this next graphic here is for the week of May 20th to 26th. And it's kind of a similar story, but not seeing as much of the Caribbean in those brown shadings. So rainfall activity may actually start to kick up at that time later this month. The models are actually kind of favoring that for sections of the Caribbean. So we definitely have to, start paying more attention to what's going on out there. And the good thing is there's no signs of any early activity across the Atlantic basin. Now, in terms of the rainfall forecast over the next day, things are going to be stable for the most part across much of the Caribbean. But in sections of the Bahamas, even going to Cuba, we're seeing a bit of color around. So there could be some rainfall activity for sure. Already seen that happening in some areas in these same places. Cuba, sections of the Bahamas definitely got some rain earlier. And even now, if I should go back to the satellite imagery, notice these little white dots here indicating lightning strikes. So things have been active in sections of Cuba. And then as we head to other areas such as the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Hispaniola, rainfall chance is going to be quite limited. Only a few areas may experience a pop-up shower here and there. And then going to Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, through much of the Lesser Antilles, rain chance will be very low. And it will be even lower for the ABC Islands, the driest areas in the Caribbean. So it's going to be pretty quiet and stable, also very hot. So now is the time that we should all be staying hydrated and as cool as possible. Northern South America, things are likely to be a bit active for the Guyanas, so there could be some instances of some heavy downpours at times with some thunderstorms. And for Central America, it's primarily going to be Panama and Costa Rica, which experience the bulk of rain within the area. And then as we head further north, sections of Nicaragua going up to Belize, things are definitely going to be on the drier side. So that's what we have going on, guys. That's what is on the horizon. So just wanted to provide you with that update regarding the tropical waves that are moving through and the general weather update in terms of what is going on out there. So main takeaway, the Saharan air layer is quite dominant. The dry air is on a roll and is helping to suppress any significant rain across much of the Caribbean basin. So I'll be keeping you posted as time progresses. And I do hope you found this video to be quite informative. If you have any questions, though, as always, you can feel free to drop those in the comments below. I'll get to you when I can. And remember to always be weatherwise.